Hey college football fans, Chappy here with another episode of Walk It Off with Chappy. A beautiful sunny day here in Michigan. So I'm going to talk about overreactions from week one because they always happen. And I'm going to start with the overreactions on the negative side. First of all, Oregon. They were ranked 11th because coming into the season, they, on paper, look like they have a good team. We saw them on the field against Georgia, and it wasn't that Oregon's a bad team, it's that the Georgia Bulldogs are that good of a team. That's why they jumped up to number 2. That's why some people can make a good argument that they might even be deserving of a number 1 ranking. But to drop the Ducks out of the rankings from 11 to out of the rankings, let's face it, they scored as many points as Clemson did against Georgia last year, the national champion Georgia Bulldogs, eventual national champions, and they didn't even drop 10 spots, I don't think. Now, granted, I know Clemson was not typical Clemson last year, but they ended up winning 10 games. Georgia made a pretty good Arkansas team look inept last year. Arkansas went on to win, I believe, 9 games last season and were ranked much of the year. They made Kentucky look inept, and Kentucky won 10 games last year. So just because the Georgia Bulldogs dominated the Oregon Ducks is not a reason to drop the Big O out of the rankings. I mean, yeah, they do need to figure out their quarterback situation. Bo Nix has got to improve, but you have to figure that's going to happen, again, working with Kenny Dillingham as the offensive coordinator, but also diversify that offense. They have 4 legitimate running backs that they can go, from Cardwell to Irving to Whittington, and so on and so forth. I mean, they go deep. They've got skill at their wide receiver position. They do have a pretty good offensive line, and we know that that defense is going to be aggressive, and they were going up against a Georgia offense that I don't think that they were quite ready for. I think they expected to out-physical or keep up with the physicality of the Georgia Bulldogs, and that just wasn't the case. So Oregon deserves to be ranked, and I fully support that. I think that this is still going to be an Oregon Ducks team that will contend for a Pac-12 championship this year. I really do. Another one, and this goes out to my guy, Jeffrey the Greek, the Iowa Hawkeyes. I know they're not ranked, nor do they deserve to be ranked right now, but for people to basically question if this is going to be a blow-up year and a collapse year, come on, we're talking about Kirk Ferentz. We're talking about an Iowa team that always plays great defense, and they did against number 2 South Dakota State. That's right, number 2 South Dakota State. Their offensive line is going to get better. I have to figure that they've got a quarterback somewhere on that roster that can at least just mobilize the offense, whether it's Padilla, whether it's Labus. One of those 2 guys has to provide something that Spencer Petras, God bless him, has not been able to provide yet. And then in turn, that's going to help the run game. I think they do have a talented group of receivers once they are fully healthy, and once a quarterback can get the ball effectively to Sam Laporta and Lachey, 2 good tight ends, Iowa's going to be okay. They're going to be just fine. So don't sell the bank on them yet. And again, that defense, very athletic, very physical. They just kind of reload on that side, and Coach Parker knows how to coordinate a defense in Iowa City. And then Cincinnati, for them to be dropped from the rankings, first off, I thought they should have started the season ranked higher than what they were, but to drop out of the rankings against an Arkansas team that some people have in their top 10. Now, I'm not necessarily saying they're not deserving of a top 10 ranking. I wouldn't put them in the top 10, but Cincinnati went toe-to-toe with them. They were down by 14 points at a couple different junctures, but they came back and they put up 438 yards of total offense, and over 300 of that was through the air. Ben Bryant came back and had a pretty good game and played pretty efficiently. So Cincinnati is still deserving of a top 25 ranking. I think they got jobbed by being dropped there. Now, flipping it over to the other side, I don't think we saw too many overreactions where teams are higher than what they should be, but ones that I question are number 9 Baylor. Are they really deserving of a number 9 ranking? I mean, yeah, they had a good season last year, but against Albany, a team that only won 2 games last season in the FCS level, and the 2 teams they beat won a combined 5 games last year. Baylor was solid. They were efficient. Blake Shapen looked good. Threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But the defense was not as constrictive as I thought. They were pretty good in the secondary overall, 9 pass breakups, but they did give up some big chunks. They shut down the run game, but not a lot of pressure was put on Albany's quarterback, who threw the ball 28 times. So to only get 2 sacks from that defensive front, which a lot of people were glorifying highly, are they really deserving of a number 9 rank? We're going to see this weekend against BYU when they travel to Provo, Utah to take on those Cougars, who looked damn impressive against USF. Oklahoma State, ranked number 11. I think that's a little bit too lofty of a rank for the Cowboys. They put up 58 points. Spencer Sanders accounted for 6 touchdowns, 4 passing, but they had a 30-point lead in the fourth quarter, only ended up winning by 12 points. And it wasn't as if they were playing walk-ons that whole fourth quarter. Oklahoma State was. And CMU is no slouch. I should know, I'm a proud Chippewa graduate, but if this is a team that is number 11 in the country, and they've got the general, Mike Gundy, who's been around, should they allow a MAC team that's not even projected to win that conference this year, to come back and hang 44 on them with an average but not great good but not great quarterback? And you shut down Lou Nichols, the top rusher in the country last year, but then you got to stop the pass as well. And I think that's going to be something that is going to make Cowboy fans a little bit nervous this year. And then USC at number 10, I'm okay with that, but they beat a below average Rice team, and this was a 4-8 USC team last year. Now they're all the way in the top 10 because of one game under a new coach and new transfers, which people are high on. And I think that their path is very easy to win double digits, but all the way at number 10, we'll see if they're a top 10 team come later on. I do think that Texas A&M at number 6 is a bit lofty. I mean, Haynes King threw 3 touchdowns, but he also threw 2 interceptions. And as a team, Texas A&M only averaged 3.4 yards per carry on 32 rushes of the football. Just 110 yards against Sam Houston State. The defense looked pretty good, but to win 31-0 and only be up 17-0 at half, I don't care about the delays. I'm questioning if A&M is deserving of a number 6 ranking. And then to finish up, going back to the teams that are a bit surprising, Florida and Utah. I think Florida to jump all the way to number 12, that's pretty deserving. They looked like a very good football team. I would put them ahead of Baylor. I would put them ahead of Oklahoma State. I would probably at this point put them ahead of USC. But for them to be number 12, we'll see what they've got against Kentucky this upcoming week, and then Tennessee coming up soon as well. And then Utah, for them to drop 6 spots to number 13, they only lost by 3 points, and they lost by throwing a touchdown or an interception in the end zone toward the end of the game, when really they could have set up to play for the field goal. Credit Kyle Whittingham for going for the W. Unfortunately, Rising made one bad read. That was his only pick of the game, and Amari Burney for the Gators cashed in on it. So I think Utah is still a little bit too low and not necessarily deserving of being dropped 6 places when, Notre Dame hung with Ohio State. That did not come out as impressive, and they didn't drop nearly as far. So those are my thoughts, overreactions. Curious to know what you think. Hit me up on Twitter at ChappyCFB. I love this sport. I love the game. I'm Chappy. This is what I know.